Hey y'all, welcome back. So this is going to be kind of a long video. It's going to be divided up into two videos because it actually took me about 4 days to do this design. And there you saw a little glimpse of the design we're kind of going for. It's going to be similar to that, but not quite the same. It's actually a sticker that came on one of my packages from one of my bingo wins. The design is actually called the Eye of the Beholder, which we'll kind of talk about the significance of that later in the video, and the reason why I decided to do this set. So first off, I'm putting base coat on here, just so my colors would stick. And but I wanted to say this is the first time I've ever done a set like this where my design was actually going to cover the entire set. It was going to run from one nail to the other and try to kind of match up into one design that run from the one nail to the other. So I've never done a set quite like this before, which was part of the reason why it took me so long to do. The other reason why it took me so long to do was because there was quite a bit of layering on the design. I also put quite a bit of detail on it and a lot of line work to go with it. So all that being told, like I said, it took about 4 days to do from start to finish. So part one of this video will be the first 2 days of work. And truth be told, I really didn't expect it to take as long as it did. But I was actually fairly pleased with the way it turned out. But you let me know what you think at the end of this video, how you think it's coming out. I did wind up changing some colors along the way because I wasn't really liking how the color palette was looking. And some of the colors wound up being a little too jelly looking, so I wasn't really happy with that, so I did wind up changing some of that because I wanted them a little more opaque. So here we're going to do all of the nails with a white background. I did do 2 coats of the white, and I'm using a canny white, which I showed you. Also in the background you can see I have that Model 1's color cube. I did fully intend to use it, but I wound up not using it because the colors just didn't match what I wanted the color scheme to be, and some of the colors were just a little too opaque for what I was intending. So I didn't wind up using that in the long run. I went with some other colors that I had in some other brands of gel polishes. I did, however, break in my new art brushes, which I was very pleased with how they worked. They were much better and easier to use than my old brushes, so that was a definite plus. And while I was doing this white background, I got to starting thinking, how boring is just this white background with this design going to be? So I got to thinking, what can I do to jazz up this background? So then I started thinking, well, why don't we do a marble? Well, what color marble is going to look good with this design and the colors that I plan on using, which I'm not going to quite reveal yet. You'll see that in a few minutes. So I decided to go with the marble to do the background. So then we had to do colors. So I chose to do a kind of a pink marble with a little bit of a pecan butter yellow. And since I'm out of blooming gel, I was going to use a base coat. Well, I had a problem with that. This base coat that I chose to use is really thick. Well, the first 2 nails went really well, and the marble was beautiful. After that, the 2 middle nails that I did started buckling and wrinkling after I started curing. So I had to go back and fix those nails. The marble had to come off. I had to file everything down and just completely redo it. So I was a little bit frustrated. It was kind of a rough start to doing the set. So right off the bat, I was just a little bit frustrated with that. And I'm not sure, I don't think I showed that part, but you may see during the video a little bit of wrinkling here and there because of that. I kept using that same yellow, and for whatever reason, that yellow I was using kept wrinkling throughout the entire set. And I was getting very frustrated with it, so I eventually just stopped using it. I changed the color, and I said, you know, I can't keep using this yellow. I don't know why it keeps buckling like it is. So I changed it to a different color. I really do wonder if there's not just something up with that particular gel polish color that's making it do that. So have you ever had a gel polish color that does that no matter what you do, and it's just that one particular color? It's the first time I've ever experienced that with just one particular color. Or maybe it's just that I was putting that base coat on too thick on just those two particular nails. I don't know what my issue was. But I just kept having to go back and fix it. I eventually just had to abandon that color. So this nail right here is where I started having the issue with the wrinkling. And it was this nail and the next nail where the issue started. Anyway, so do you know what the significance of the Eye of the Beholder is? Have you ever heard of it? And no, I'm not talking about the Eye of the Beholder from the video games or from Dungeons and Dragons game, if you've ever played that. Anything along that lines. That's not the one I'm talking about. The Eye of the Beholder I'm referring to is kind of defined as the perception of beauty that is subjective to what is perfect, flawless, captivating to one might be ordinary or unappealing to another. And it's that basic definition that made me kind of want to do this set. I know I have a tendency to sometimes look at things and forget to look at the beauty in things. For example, I can look at a piece of artwork and just see paint on canvas. But for some reason, I don't see the beauty in it. Because for some reason, that particular piece of artwork just doesn't appeal to me. But there is beauty in it, and somehow, for some reason, my opinion, it just doesn't strike me as being beautiful. But there is beauty in it, and I need to remind myself that there is beauty in it, and I need to learn to appreciate the beauty in it, and that just because it doesn't appeal particularly to me, that doesn't mean that it doesn't appeal to others. You know, maybe the artwork isn't the beauty of it. Maybe it's the thought behind the piece of artwork. Who knows? But there is beauty in everything in some form or another. So that's kind of the thought behind me doing this set, is to remind myself that there is beauty in everything in some form or fashion. And maybe at the same time, it'll remind somebody else of the same thing. Maybe that piece of beauty is something that they've forgotten, not just about a piece of art, but maybe something else in life. Maybe something more significant. Who knows? The options are endless. I guess my point being is there is beauty in everything, and the sad thing is we so often forget to see it or to look at it because we get wrapped up in so many other things in life. Maybe it's time we stop and take a breather and start to remember to look for the beauty in things we might not otherwise think there's beauty in. Who knows? What do y'all think about it? Am I making any sense at all to you? But I really would like to know your thoughts about it. So anyway, if you've made it this far into the video, go ahead and leave me an eye emoji. And I will get off my soapbox now. So back to the design. So I did go over the background with a matte top coat, and then I did a penciled in rough sketch of the design, just so I had an idea of where I wanted to paint it. And of course I did a green palette with this design. If you know me, you know I had to go green. And you just saw me trying to match up the design from nail to nail, because I'm trying to keep the design running from one nail to the next. and kind of keep it so that it's even. So you see how it runs from one nail to the other? And that's going to make the eye run the complete scale of 4 nails all the way across. And that was really a lot harder to do than I thought it was going to be. I think it took me more time matching up the design to keep it even across the nails than it did me actually painting everything together. So instead of this set taking me a day or two, it took me 4 days because I spent so much time trying to match the design up to go across all the way across all 4 nails and to look right and to match up. So yeah, that's what made it take so long for me, because I was doing that. And then because I had to go back over it and, it was layers. Layers on top of layers, which you'll see here in a minute. After this green goes on, then the next layer will go on top of that. This green was so sheer, though, I did wind up having to go over it a couple of times, which I can't remember if I actually showed more than 1 coat, but I may have shown 2 coats. But I think I probably actually did 3 coats to make sure it was opaque enough for this set. And do you see how thin that little detail brush is? Why I was using that detail brush to try to spread this out, I have no idea. I should have used a bigger brush. That was kind of ridiculous of me even trying to do that. Okay, so here I'm going with a second coat. I'm just doing the outline just to make sure I have it boxed in real well and that I don't overstep my bounds with the big brush. And then I'll probably go in with the second coat of the big brush. Can't remember if I show that or not. But yeah, I did have to go in with a couple of coats, like I said, just to get it opaque enough. So anyway, if you've made it this far in a video, go ahead and leave me some flower emojis. I'd really appreciate it. And I'm going to go ahead and shut up now and probably put on some music for you. And if you're liking this video and you haven't already, maybe think about subscribing. Or send me a like, a comment, and maybe even think about sharing. And don't forget to hit that post notification so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. I'd appreciate it, and it really helps my channel out.